All right, so thank you all again so much for being here. My name is Caroline. This is a core session. It's going to take about an hour and 15 minutes. And in yoga, a lot of postures that address the core specifically involve being on the hands and on the wrists. So just a note before we begin, if at any point you're starting to feel discomfort by placing weight on the hands when the wrist is in an extended position like this, you can make a fist so that the weight of the hand is on the joint without it being extended, and you'll use your knuckles and your thumb to brace yourself. So that's true for things like table pose or plank. We're going to be working on plank and side plank today, so you can always choose to do that. If that doesn't work or doesn't feel stable, there are a couple of poses that we'll do that you can do on the forearms instead of on the palms, okay? So we're actually going to start in child's pose. So if you have some props on your mat, you can move them aside. And we're going to take the knees a little wider apart than hip width. You can sit back on your heels and extend your upper body forward. And just take a few moments to settle here. Allow your shoulders to relax. And adjust the space between the knees. If the hips are feeling tight, you might want to go a little wider. And if your forehead does not comfortably touch the floor, you can stack one hand on top of the other like this, or you can put a block there. We just want to make sure that the neck is relaxed and the head is resting on something. So take a few moments just to settle in here. And with the eyes closed, begin to scan through your body and notice how you're feeling this morning. Any physical sensations that you may be aware of, or any parts of the body that you need to pay attention to today. Notice if there's any holding or tension anywhere in this pose right now. And if so, just bring your awareness to that part in the body, and over the course of several slow breaths, just try and let that release. You want to feel completely relaxed in child's pose. And as this is our resting posture, you are more than welcome to come back here at any point throughout the class. And before we come out of it and begin warming up, just take a moment to notice how you're breathing right now. Notice where you feel your body expand as you inhale, and where you contract as you exhale. And see if you can consciously slow down the speed of your natural breath, taking more time on the next breath in to broadly expand as the lungs fill, and more time with the exhalation as you slowly and steadily release the air. Just let your breath settle into a nice, steady, even rhythm. Taking 5 more of those slow breaths here in child's pose. And after those 5 breaths, you can float the eyes open. We're going to inhale, come up out of child's pose into table, adjusting your knees so they're only about hip width apart and lining the palms directly underneath the shoulders. We're gonna warm up the spine. On an inhalation, lift your tailbone, chest, and chin as you glance forward or up. Exhale, drop the tailbone, round the spine, and tuck the chin to the chest. Again, inhale, lift and arch the spine. Exhale, drop the tailbone, round the spine. Do that a few times here, coordinating with the speed of your own breath. And then we're going to add a little lift. The next time that you exhale through the rounded spine, hold that position and lift your knees an inch off the ground and then let it go. Inhale, back to the extension. Exhale, round, stay there, lift the knees, let it go. So do that about 5 more times every time you come through the rounded spine. The next time you come through the rounded spine, we're going to hold in that hovering position. So stay contracted, lift the knees off the mat, and take 5 breaths here. One more deep breath in. Exhale and let it go. Good. Walk your knees about half a foot back. And then exhale, slowly lower yourself all the way to the floor. Point the toes, line up the palms outside your chest, and squeeze your shoulders back. We're going to inhale, roll up to a low or a high cobra. Exhale, let that go. Again, inhale, rolling up, stretching the abdominal wall. Exhale, release. Once more, inhale. Exhale, release. Tuck your toes and inhale, press back up to the knees and find table pose here again. We're going to take an extension here. Reach your right leg back, extending all the way out through the heel, and then extend your left arm forward. Look down at the ground to keep the back of the neck long, and strongly push against your right hand so that shoulder is supporting the upper back, and reach as far apart between these limbs as you can. Three more deep breaths. With your last breath out, release back to table. Other side, extend your left leg behind you, reaching all the way out to the heel, right arm forward. Strong pressure down against the left palm and engage the core, drawing the navel in, supporting the lower back as you reach apart. One more deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. We're going to keep the hips in line over the knees here. Walk the arms forward, spacing them as wide as you do for down dog. And then exhale, let your chest and armpits move down toward the floor, extending through your spine. Don't worry if your head doesn't touch the mat, but do let your neck relax. And each time you exhale, just feel your spine pull deeper into your body, so there's no rounding in the upper back. Take 5 more steady breaths here. And after those 5 breaths, you can inhale and lift yourself back up. Good. From here, we're going to step the left leg out to the side. You can point the right toes because we're going to be moving between here and sitting back like child's pose, just warming up the hips and the hamstrings. So the next time you exhale, sit back to your right heel, keeping the left leg straight out to the side, and then inhale, return. So just do that a few times with your breath, exhaling to draw down, inhaling to return to table. The next time that you sit back on your heel, we're gonna stay there and roll the left toes up toward the ceiling. So it's just the heel in contact with the floor, and actively reach as straight through that leg as you can. Engage your quads and try and send the hamstring down toward the floor. The next time you inhale, lift yourself back up and step that foot out and back to table. All right, I'm gonna turn myself around so I have space to do this. We're gonna take the other side, send your right leg out to the space at the side of your mat, sole of the foot on the floor. You're gonna point the left toes so you don't overstretch there. And then exhale, sit back on the heel. Inhale, lift back up. And again, just coordinate with your breath, gradually warming up the hip and the hamstrings. And the next time that you sit down on your heel, stay there, point the right toes up toward the ceiling and reach out through that heel. Feel your quads contract and lengthen that hamstring as much as you can. The next time you inhale, lift up off of the hip or the heel and step that knee back to table pose. Good, from here, walk your hands maybe 6 or 7 inches farther forward than your shoulders. Spread the fingers widely. We're gonna tuck the toes and send the hips back, extending the arms and spine, then lift the knees up for down dog. You can adjust the feet a few inches apart if they're not already. And just take a few moments to settle into the pose. If the hamstrings are tight, you want to definitely keep your knees bent so that you can focus on extending your spine. Push strongly against your mat, send your chest and armpits toward the ground, and the hips up toward the ceiling. Good, keep the breath steady and regular. And then from here, bring your feet together so there's no space between the big toe knuckles. Try and bring your inner ankles together. We're gonna come back and forth between here and plank, coordinating with the breath. We're always going to exhale, shift forward until the shoulders are over the palms, plank pose. Inhale, glide back, lifting the hips. Good, exhale, come forward, contract through the core. Inhale, lift up. Do that at least 5 more times on your own. The next time that you arrive in plank, we're gonna stay there, 5 breaths. Remember, if your wrists are not used to having this much intensity, you can always switch to being on your fists. Good, squeeze your legs together, make sure they're active, quads are contracted, inner thighs squeezing, glutes engaged. 2 more breaths. Last breath in. Exhale, bend your elbows, slowly lower to the floor. Once you're down, point the toes, squeeze your shoulders back. We're gonna inhale, roll up to cobra and stay there. 3 deep breaths. One more inhalation. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, press back up to the knees. Exhale, hips back and lift. Down dog. Let go through your neck. Take 5 deep breaths here. One more breath in, look forward. As you exhale, step your feet up to the front of the mat. Place the hands against the shins. Inhale to the flat back position. Exhale, fold and release. Let's do that twice more. Inhale, extend the spine and arms. Exhale, let it go. Last time, inhale. Exhale, release. Let go through the head, neck, and shoulders. Let your arms hang down. 5 breaths here. The next time you inhale, we're going to come up to stand. Open the arms, reach all the way up over your head, and exhale, release. Good, I'm going to talk you through a few rounds of sun salutations. Start toward the front of your mat so that you have plenty of space to step yourself back. We're going to begin by inhaling, reach up and overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, step to plank. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, slowly lower down. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, push up to the knees or straight to plank. Exhale, lift back and then adjust your feet for downward facing dog. Again, we want that hip width distance between them as you extend the spine and arms. One more breath in, look forward. Exhale, step to your hands. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, release. Second time through. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, step to plank. Deep breath in. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, push to table or plank. Exhale, lift back, down dog. Adjust wherever you need to, and then settle into stillness in the pose. 5 deep breaths. One more breath in, look forward. Exhale, step to the front. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, release. We're going to do one more round. Inhale, begin. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, step to plank. Deep breath in. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, press to plank or table. Exhale, down dog. Try and find one focal point to concentrate on, keeping the gaze steady and the breath smooth. One more breath in, look forward. Exhale, step to the front. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, release. Let your arms hang by your sides, gently close your eyes. Just take a few breaths here in mountain pose. Notice the energy in your own body. And try and let your heart rate come down, let your breathing rate slow. then once the breath feels calm again, you can float the eyes open. So we're gonna work on chair pose and a spinal twist. Normally when we do this pose, if you're familiar with it, we end up crossing the elbow over and placing the elbow outside of the knee. Today, since we're doing a little more core focus, we're gonna hold the pose without making that contact, so that you have to support the upper body with a little more engagement of the core since you don't have that leverage with the elbow. So you're gonna stand with your feet together, and we're going to bend the knees, inhale and sit back into chair pose, getting nice and long here through the spine. You're gonna bring the hands together in front of your heart, just using the strength of your core, twist to your left. It might look mirrored in the video. You'll start to rotate as much as you can and just barely take the elbow. It's gonna hover right outside of the knee, not actually touch. Deep breath here. Each time you exhale, see if you can rotate just a bit more. The next time you inhale, come back to chair, extend the arms. Exhale, hands to the heart. Other side, just using your core strength. Rotate. You're going to just barely meet that full pose that you're used to taking. The elbow's not actually touching the outside of the leg. Good, stay with your breath, 2 more. The next time you inhale, come back to chair pose. Exhale, dive forward and fold. Let that go. Separate your feet a few inches apart, bend the knees a little bit, and hold on to opposite elbows, gently letting your torso sway side to side. Good, and from this motion, let that stop. Let go of your elbows. If the hands don't touch the floor here, bend the knees more. I'm gonna rotate so I can step back. We're gonna step the left leg back. Find a high lunge position. Your right knee is gonna be deeply bent, hands on either side of the foot. At this point, if you'd like to assist the pose, you can place blocks underneath your hands. So take a few moments to settle into your breath here. Your upper body can pretty much rest on the right thigh for now. Find a nice deep bend in that hip joint and knee. And focus on lifting and engaging the back thigh. From here, we're gonna inhale, come up to balance in high crescent lunge. Draw the spine back over the hips, extend all the way up through the arms and the shoulders. And find one focal point to concentrate on here. From here, we're going to take a slow moving twist. On an exhalation breath, your left hand's going to touch the floor, right arm stays up. Inhale, return to the crescent lunge. Again, exhale nice and slow, controlling with your core, spinal twist. Inhale, come back up. So do that a few times with your own breath. When you take that twist, see how little weight you can put into your hands. Just barely touch. Last time, we're going to stay in the twist. Start to rotate from the navel all the way up the spine, actively reaching through your top arm. One more deep breath in. Look down as you exhale, release the hand. Let's gently lower the back knee to the floor, give that leg a rest. Take a few moments just to sink down here into your low lunge. Try and slow down the speed of your breath. And then we're going to take both arms inside of the right foot, which you can move over a few inches and turn out at a slight angle. And allow that knee to fall away from your shoulder, just opening up the outer hip. Here would be a good point to be on your fists and knuckles if you want to give your wrists a break, knowing that we're going to be working on plank and side plank in a few moments. Take 3 more deep breaths here. And after those 3 breaths, you're going to move your right foot out even wider so you've got space to plant your palms down in line for plank pose. Lift your back knee up and then engage your core. Step your right foot to meet the left. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale, press up. Exhale, lift back. Downward facing dog. Take 3 more deep breaths here. On your last inhalation, look forward. Exhale, step up to your hands. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. We're going to hang here again in your forward bend. You can hold on to your elbows and gently sway your torso side to side. And let that motion stop. Let go of the elbows. If your hands don't touch the floor here, bend the knees more. You're going to step your right leg all the way back so that you're in a high lunge here. Deep bend in your left knee and hip, and strong active energy in the right thigh. Couple of breaths here. Again, your upper body's resting on top of the leg right now. And then when you're ready for that balance, we're going to inhale. Slowly come on up, high crescent lunge. Find a steady focal point. Keep lifting through that back thigh. And then when you're ready, that slow twisting motion, we exhale. Right hand barely touches the floor. Inhale, return. So nice and steady with your breath, using your core to keep the upper body stable as you make your way to the twist, and using that hip strength to help keep you stable on your way back up. The next time that you put your hand down, we're going to stay in that twist, rotating from the navel all the way up the spine, actively reaching through the top arm. One more deep breath in. Exhale, release. Gently lower your back knee to the floor, giving that leg a rest. Take a few moments here just to sink down into the hips. Let your upper body rest on the thigh again. Slow down your breath. We're going to take both arms inside the left leg, which you're going to move over again about 2 inches or so, turn it out at an angle, and then let that knee fall away from your shoulder, really opening up your external rotators here. Again, you can stay upright, and if you want to give your wrists a break, be on your fists here. Take a few more deep breaths. And from here, we're going to move the foot out even farther so you have space to plant your palms for plank pose. Lift your back knee up off the ground and then strong through the core, step that left leg back. Bring the feet and legs together, take a deep breath in. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale, push up to plank or table. Exhale, lift back. We're going to take 5 breaths here in down dog. Allow your neck to release. Slow and steady, nice long exhalations. . Next time you exhale, bring your knees to the floor. We're going to take child's pose. If you'd like to take the second version, which we didn't start with, the legs can come together. You'll sit back down and this time wrap your arms around the legs, letting your shoulders separate apart from one another. If you prefer that first version that we started the class with, you can do that as well. Gently close your eyes here and just try and slow down the speed of your breath. Notice the energy in your body. And then from here, when you're ready to come out, take your hands in front of the knees and lift yourself up. So we're going to prepare to work on side plank. I'm just going to show you the variations of the pose if you're not quite yet at the point where you're doing the posture beginning in a full plank. So the first variation would start from table position. And if I do this on my right hand, I'm going to send the right foot back a little bit out to the side, kind of like a little kickstand, then straighten the left leg, open the hip, and then open the rest of the body. And notice that the shoulder is in line over the palm, and that's true no matter what version of the pose you're doing. So then you would open from there. The straight leg is really active. It's not just hanging out, but you're squeezing through the quad, engaging through the glute, which is also true no matter what version you're doing. This is not just about your arm and shoulder strength, so I want you to really focus on your core and lower body as well. So that's version 1. If you're doing version 2 or the full version, they both start from plank pose, but you bring the hand that you're going to balance on closer to the other palm than you normally would. Then we come to the outer edge of the ankle, or the foot, and the second version steps the top leg over the bottom leg before you open up the rest of the pose. Right, the full version keeps the legs stacked. Strongly engage the side of the waist to lift it up and then open to the full posture. Right, but again, shoulder being in line over the palm is pretty important so that you don't tax your delt. If the hand is much farther of the shoulder, your deltoid is going to have to work way too hard to become over dominant in the pose. So wherever you are in this process, I want you to focus on squeezing your glutes, your outer hips, engaging up through your waist, and trying your best to breathe. And if you haven't come out yet, just gently release. You can go back to down dog. You can put your knees down. You can take child's pose. And then whenever you're ready for the other side, set yourself up. And you're either starting from table pose. So if you do left hand, you're going to send the left foot back a little bit. Then right leg steps back as you open and take the full posture here, or starting from plank again. And if you're in plank, left hand moves in closer, so you align that shoulder over the wrist. Slowly roll to the outer edge of the foot, and either step the top foot over or keep the legs stacked. And if you're still with me on the left side, we're going to exhale, slowly release, separate that palm back to its starting position, and lift up to down dog. Let your head and neck release. Take 5 deep breaths here. With your last exhalation, gently lower the knees. You can point the toes. We're just going to sit upright on the heels for a moment. If this is not a comfortable way for you to sit, you can take any other posture you like. So just sit upright, gently close your eyes, and let your shoulders relax down away from your ears. Just let go of some of that intense energy from the upper back. Feel your head draw in line over the rest of the spine. And then we're just going to do a little stretch of the wrists here. Let your arms come out in front of you and let the hands dangle down like this. Take one hand to the back of the other and gently press the fingers toward your forearm. Take one more deep breath in. And exhale, let that one go. Other side, you're going to let the hand hang down. You're going to take the hand here and gently press the fingers toward the forearm. Good, and then let that go. Again, let your arms just hang down by your sides, heavy through the shoulders. Take a few breaths here, allowing your entire arm to relax. Good, so from here, we're going to work on forearm plank. If you did a practice with me last week, we worked on dolphin pose. The base of dolphin pose is what we're going to use for our forearm plank today. So that's going to involve clasping the hands in front of you and placing the elbows and forearms on the mat with a sort of triangular shape from the fist to the point of the elbow. So you can come forward and bring your elbows and forearms on the floor and just cross your forearms to hold the outside of your elbows to get a pretty good starting position. Then clasp the hands. Whichever of your pinky fingers is on the bottom, tuck it into your palm so you have a flat surface and you're not putting pressure on that pinky. So what's different from dolphin pose is the shoulder position. In dolphin, we're extending the shoulders and pressing back. In forearm plank, we want to keep the shoulders in line over the elbows, and it's your sternum that we're trying to move forward and eliminate rounding in the upper back. So before we even step back, I want you to glide your shoulder blades back and feel your sternum move forward a little bit. And just notice how that engages the muscles in the chest. Then from here, step one leg and then the other back. Squeeze the legs together and then tuck the tailbone in slightly so that you can bring your pelvis in line with the shoulders. Again, this is not just about your upper body strength, so really use your legs. Squeeze your quads, inner thighs, outer thighs, glutes. And at any point, if you need a break, just put the knees on the floor or come to child's pose. One more breath in. Exhale, knees down, and walk yourself back, child's pose. Let your shoulders, head and neck release. Take a few breaths here. We're going to take that one more time, so you can go ahead and lift yourself back up. Bring the forearms and elbows to the mat, and again, cross the forearms, holding the outside of the elbows. Clasp the fists and draw the pinky finger in. You're going to glide your shoulder blades back and the sternum forward, so you're extending and not rounding your upper back. And then step your legs back, tuck the tailbone in slightly, and bring the hips level with the shoulders. Good, breathe as slowly as you're able to. One more deep breath in. Exhale, knees down. Last time, child's pose. Let your arms and shoulders relax, or you can wrap them around the legs. Take 5 more deep breaths here. And then after those 5 breaths, you can lift yourself back up. Line the shoulders over the palms and walk your knees back. Slowly lower yourself all the way to the floor. We're gonna work on locust pose here. Squeeze your legs together and point the toes and reach your arms alongside the legs. So core is not just abdominals, right? It's the sides as well and the lower back. So we're gonna work on activating the lumbar here. Squeeze your shoulders and elbows together and then lift up into locust. Engaging through the lumbar to raise the legs. And engage through the upper back to raise the chest. Nice deep breath against the mat. One more breath in. Exhale, let it go. Turn your head down to one side and let your shoulders sink into the floor. Close the eyes here and take a few breaths to recover. And we'll take that a second time when you're ready. Bring the legs together, forehead down. I'm gonna roll the shoulder blades back like you're trying to squeeze a pencil between the spine. And then exhale, lift everything up. Nice deep active breath against the mat. Reaching the arms back toward your feet. See if you can go just a little higher than last time. One more breath in. Exhale, let it go. Again, shoulders just melt into the mat. Let go of that active energy from your lower back and your legs. Take 5 breaths here. One final time, bring the legs together, point the toes, forehead down, prepare the shoulders, and then lift up when you're ready. Feel every muscle on your backside actively engaged to help lift your front side as high off the mat as you can. One more breath in. Exhale, let it go. This time, separate your legs a little wider than hip width. Bend your knees and drop the feet side to side like windshield wipers. Letting that motion loosen up your lower back and rotate your pelvis. And then you can let that action stop. From here, I'm gonna have you transition to your back. So all you need to do is just carefully roll yourself over. You can adjust yourself so that you're still on your mat. And I'm gonna have you bend your knees and plant the feet underneath the knees. And just pause here on your back for a few moments. We're going to be taking bridge pose. We've done a lot of work contracting the abdominals, and so bridge is a nice way to lengthen the entire front of the body. So when you're ready for bridge, just like locust, we're going to bring the shoulder blades as close together as possible. So kind of wiggle side to side here to bring them in underneath you. Then press against your palms, your forearms, and your feet. Lift your hips and your spine as high off the mat as you can. And once you're up, if you can make another adjustment with the shoulders, that can help bring a little more opening across your chest. A nice deep expansive breath, feeling yourself expand against gravity as you inhale and completely contract as you exhale. Take one more deep breath in and exhale, roll down. Separate your shoulders and take a few breaths here just to relax. And we'll come into this a second time when you're ready. So prepare the shoulder blades by rolling them closer together underneath you. And then press against your feet and your palms. Lift up into bridge. Maybe another adjustment. And if you're comfortable clasping the hands underneath you, you can do that and press the outside of the fist against the mat. Take 5 more breaths here. With your last breath out, start to release. Separate the arms if you have the hands together and roll down. Good, separate and relax the shoulders. Take your feet about as wide apart as your mat and drop the knees back and forth like windshield wipers. Again, letting your pelvis freely rock side to side, just loosening up the lower back. And then you can bring the knees back up. We're going to walk the feet all the way together now to touch. And open the knees out to the side for reclined bound angle pose, letting the soles of the feet meet each other. And if the hips resist this pose, you can put a block or a book outside of each knee or thigh here to support. And let your arms rest wherever is most comfortable. If it's not down by your sides, maybe hands on your abdomen or arms slightly above you. And just close your eyes here. Take a moment to scan through your body and notice if there's any holding in the pose, especially in your hips or the inner or outer thighs or in the glutes. Try and let this pose be completely passive. Take 5 more slow breaths here. And after those 5 breaths, we're going to gently bring the knees back together and bring your knees into the chest, hugging your arms around your legs, and just rock a little bit from side to side, massaging your lower back. And turn your knees around in a big circle several times in each direction to massage your sacrum, your SI joints. Good, and we are going to come back to a seat. If you're not comfortable rocking on the spine, which we're going to do in a moment, you can just roll yourself over from here. If rocking on the spine is comfortable, tuck your chin to your chest, engage your core, and start to gradually build momentum, keeping your chin tucked the whole time. Maybe take 3 or 4 rocks to come all the way upright. Good. Once you're upright, you can take your hands behind you, adjust yourself so that your hips are back a little bit and you can sit up tall. Right, so no core practice in yoga would be complete without boat pose, everybody's favorite. So sit up nice and tall, extending your spine, let your shoulders draw back. First step is just finding the balance point. Lean back until you can lift your feet up off of the floor, finding that balance on the back of the pelvis. Then squeeze your thighs together and raise your feet as much as you're able to. If the hamstrings are tight, you're not going to be able to do this with straight legs. It doesn't matter. Right? So the most important thing is that you're engaging the lower back and core to keep your spine extended. Once you feel steady here, you can try letting go. Extend the arms out in front of you. Find one focal point and just focus on that spot. Keep the breath steady. Good, everybody. Exhale, gently release. Take your hands behind your back, separate your feet about as wide as the mat, and we're just going to do these windshield wipers again to help release the hip flexors. Right, so boat, as much as it's a core pose, it's really a lot of work for the hip flexors. You're probably feeling that fatigue right here, and so we want to do something that lengthens them between each repetition of the pose. Otherwise, they're going to get super fatigued. So this is something good. You could also do like a reverse tabletop pose. Right? If you've been to my class before, we do this a lot after a boat. So you can do either one. We're going to repeat this 2 more times. Find that nice upright seat. Hold the back of the thighs, extend your spine, and relax the shoulders. Then find your balance point. Lean back just until you can lift the feet and no farther. Then raise them as much as you're able to. Choose a focal point, and when you're ready, try and let go. Extend the arms. Good, everybody. One more breath in. Exhale, help to release. Good, again, hands behind the back. Separate your feet as wide as the mat and drop the knees back and forth. I'm really lifting my hip up off the ground. Each time I go to the side, that opposite hip is coming up quite a lot to help extend the front of the hip flexor. Good, last time. Bring the feet and legs together. Sit up tall, shoulders relaxed. And then when you're ready, find your balance point, extend the legs, steady breath, extend your arms. Three more breaths. Good work, everybody. Exhale, let it go. Good. Last time, take your hands behind your back, separate the feet. This time you're going to drop your knees to the right and let them stay there. Press up off of the left hip and then extend your left arm diagonally away from it. You're rotating your abdomen toward the back of your mat and supporting just with your right hand here. One more deep breath in. Exhale and release, sitting back down on the left hip. Other side. Drop the knees to the left. You're gonna press up off the right hip and rotate, extending the right arm diagonally away from the hip. One more deep breath in. Exhale, unwind, taking that hand behind you. We're gonna bring the legs together, tuck the chin to the chest, and slowly roll yourself back down, one vertebra at a time. Once you are down on your back, you're gonna bring your right knee to your chest and slide your left leg down on the floor. Your left leg can be in a relaxed state, so it doesn't matter if it's perfectly straight. Let your shoulders relax against the mat. And we're gonna keep the right knee here, but let go of it. Take your arms out to the side in a cactus position and just take some wide circles with your right knee. The next time that your knee crosses over the body, you can use your hand to help continue that cross for a spinal twist. Right arm can extend now all the way out to the side to counter the leg. You can give yourself a little adjustment by moving your bottom hip over to the right side of your mat a few inches. And that's just so your SI joints are stacked on top of one another, and it helps give you a little more rotation in your lumbar. Take 3 more deep breaths here in this reclined twist. And then on an inhalation breath, unwind, return to your back, and bend both knees so that you can adjust your hips so that they're centered below the shoulders. Just pause there for a moment, let your lower back and your rib cage relax. And then you can bring the left knee to the chest and let your right leg slide down and relax on the floor. Just a few breaths here, allowing your low back to lengthen and flatten into the mat. And then we're gonna keep the knee here, but let the arms come down in a little cactus position. Take those wide circles here with your left thigh, finding the whole range of motion here in the hip joint. You can change direction. And the next time that the knee starts crossing over your body, use your opposite hand to help continue that direction for a spinal twist. And then adjust your bottom hip to the opposite side of your mat, so to the left, a couple of inches. Good, several just slow, relaxed breaths here. And from here, the next time you inhale, unwind the twist. Bend both knees and plant your feet so you can adjust the hips to that center point below your shoulders. Pause there for a moment to let the lower back release from the shape of that twist. And then lastly, we're going to bring both knees to the chest, hug your arms around the legs, and just rock a little bit side to side. And then think about how you'd like to rest during Shavasana, final relaxation. If there are any props that you have that you want to use to support your body, maybe something for the back of the head or any extra layers of clothing that you want to put on to stay warm, go ahead and gather what you need to be comfortable in your final relaxation posture. And so I'll give you a moment to set up and then settle. So if you haven't joined one of my Zoom classes before, I'll talk you through a guided full body relaxation and then take you out of Shavasana as well. And then if anybody wants to chat briefly after this, we can do that. If you prefer to just be in Shavasana longer, then you can cut your video out and take a Shavasana for as long as you like. So as you are getting yourselves comfortable and settled, go ahead and close the eyes if you haven't already. And take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And let that be a gesture of release to your body, and allow your natural breath quality to return at this point without any more focus or concentration on the breath. It does not matter how fast or slowly you're breathing or how deeply or shallow the breath is. So let your normal breathing rate return. Make any final adjustments you need to be completely comfortable so that you're not distracted by the thought that you need to adjust. And then just start to notice how your entire body feels right now. What type of energy is lingering from the physical postures that we've just practiced? Just start to gradually let go of all of that physical intensity, letting your body feel heavy and allowing it to sink down into the floor. Start to bring your awareness to the head, the back of the neck. Notice if there's any holding or rigidity in the back of the neck. And if so, let that melt away the next time you breathe out. Allowing your head to sink down into the floor, into the support beneath you, and all the muscles in the neck to soften and release. Bring your awareness to your jaw and the front of the throat. If it feels tight, you can try swallowing a couple of times. And let there be a little space between the back molars so there's no tension in the jaw. Feel all of the muscles in the face soften. Let your expression be neutral. And then start to move your attention down to the tops of the shoulders and the front of the chest. Notice if there's any holding or contracting sensation in the front of the chest. And if so, let that melt away the next time you exhale, allowing the shoulders to heavily drop into the floor. Scan through the arms from the top of the shoulders all the way down to the tips of your fingers, letting go of any muscular energy in the arms, feeling heavy through the elbows and the wrists, and allowing the palms and the fingers to just curl into whatever natural resting position they take. And then start to visualize the shape of your own spine, those 3 natural curvatures that the spine has. A little concave curvature in the back of the neck, slightly convex through the thoracic spine, and concave again in the lumbar spine. And just mentally travel down your spinal column, noticing if there's any holding of muscles that attach at your spine. And if so, try and let that release with a nice exhalation breath. Just allowing your back to settle into the floor and the rib cage to settle. And once you've made your way down the spine, bring your attention to your pelvis. Notice if there's any holding sensation in the hip flexors or the glutes. Let that melt away as the pelvis feels heavy. Imagine that you had a sandbag placed on the front of the hips, a downward energy, pressing the hips into the floor and releasing every muscle that attaches at the pelvis. And then scan down from the hip joints all the way to the tips of your toes. And if you sense any active muscular energy in the quadriceps, the hamstrings, or the calves, just try and let that release with an exhalation breath so that the legs feel completely relaxed and settled.